Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, at the beginning of every season, every team, every player, every organization, sets out to make history. They set out to cement themselves in the record books, to have their names, their team, whatever, remembered forever. Like there's some famous saying, or it's like a song quote or something that's like, the only way to be immortalized is to be remembered. There's so many teams, so many players that they're going to come and go through the LCS. They're largely going to be lost in kind of the swing of things. Think to all, especially if esports lasts forever and ever and ever, there's going to be just so many seasons, so many teams, so many players, so many people that are going to come and go, be forgotten about. But to actually, make it into the record books, to have a historic season, it's hard to come by. And again, everyone tries to do that. And this season, this split, this TSM team has done just that. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. The videos with more likes, they get pushed out to more and more people. YouTube knows, or at least thinks, you guys are liking them, so they show it to more people that will also hopefully like it, and it's just a snowball effect. So clicking that button really quick would help me out a ton, and subscribing to stay up to date on all my latest content. We have a ton of awesome videos coming out over the next couple weeks, over the next couple months, so you don't want to miss out on that. With that being said, let's get right into this. So obviously TSM has had a crazy couple of months. A really weird and crazy offseason after, Bjergsen leaving and so many different shakeups and roster shufflings, and ended up with a roster that at best had potential to be good. I don't think anyone just thought, hey, this roster is good. People were saying it had the potential to be good, and potential is a weird thing because potential is exciting. It's great, but it doesn't mean anything unless you actually act on that potential. And at worst, they ended up with just a bad roster, just like almost an objectively bad roster. And that, that was something I was saying from this offseason, that like, hey, I did not like the moves that TSM made in this offseason. And obviously that's led to me being critical of this team and the management for the past couple of months. And that's turned into me being a TSM hater, or, whatever the heck. Like, I don't know, super weird. Just because I said TSM has bad management and had a bad offseason, and hey, they are now 4-12 in last place in the LCS, and their whole season has been marred by drama and controversy, related to coaching and management and all these things. So, like, I personally really don't think anything I've said has been that crazy. I don't think I'm a TSM hater, but whatever. Anyway, what happened today? The TSM team made history. This is the first TSM team in history to miss the playoffs. 18 straight splits, 9 years of them making the playoffs in the LCS. And with this loss to 100 Thieves today, they are now officially, mathematically out of the playoffs. Now, I think most people assume that they were already out of the playoffs, or have kind of, that the playoff ship has sailed for a lot of people weeks ago, if not months ago. It's almost April at this point. We've been playing League of Legends for a couple of months now. But the most hardcore TSM fans were still holding out hope, and the math was still there. It was still possible, just highly unlikely. And it's crazy because TSM went from the team that, was competing for every single title. They couldn't even miss a finals. They were always, whether they were shaky, whether they were up and down, whatever in the regular season, they always found a way to make it to the finals. They always found a way to make it to Worlds. They always found a way to be relevant. And that's how they were so popular. They were so successful. They were so fun to watch because you knew when the going got tough, TSM was going to find the magic. They were going to find a way to get things done. Slowly that turned into, okay, well, we're not making finals every time. They missed finals, and then they ended up missing Worlds. And it was like, obviously all good things must come to an end. You have ups and downs. Like, hey, we had our super high. Now we're going to hit a low, and then we're going to build back up. And that up has still not happened yet. TSM has slowly been on the decline the last couple of years. They have now made Worlds, one time in the last 3 years, and the one time they made Worlds, they went 0-6 at Worlds, and then last year they went right back to missing Worlds, and now this year, for the first time, they have missed playoffs. And again, every organization, every team is going to have ups and downs. So, like, not crazy unusual that, a team would have some down years, but I really do think, if you know anything about the LCS, and you know anything about these orgs, and the spending, and the structure, and the infrastructure, and everything that goes into these teams, especially in the post-pandemic world, the post-COVID world, where so many of these LCS teams, the funding, the money, the infrastructure that went into so many of these teams, how much it was affected by COVID and how much all the spending got cut. Like, remember, before COVID, this 100 Thieves roster, 3 out of the 5 members? You know, the closer, FBI, Huhi, they were all on Golden Guardians. But then COVID hits, and all this craziness happens. Teams have to cut spending, and Golden Guardians has to dump off a very, very promising roster because they just don't have the money to throw around anymore, and they're not the only team. Other teams have been in this position as well. Look at FlyQuest, Dignitas, Golden Guardians, Immortals, even CLG at this point. Teams in the LCS are not spending a lot of money, and we know that TSM, even though they've been in rebuilding, even though they've been in a long-term plan now, a 3-year plan, whatever, they're still spending a ton of money. Reggie claims they're a top 3 spending team in the LCS, and for a top 3 spending team in the LCS to not only miss the playoffs, but to be right now, as recording this video, dead last, or they'll say, hey, we're in 9th because we have the tiebreaker over Immortals. Like, whatever. Okay, if you want to say you have the tiebreaker over Immortals and you want to claim your 9th place, that's fine. But for you to be missing the playoffs, let alone being in last place or 9th place or whatever you want to call it, is just a downright absolute failure. And it should be embarrassing. And that's one thing that I've been talking about. And I don't think that makes me a TSM hater to say that what's going on right now is embarrassing and should be an absolute shame. But the craziest part is we're not even out of the woods yet. Everyone says spring split doesn't matter. And if they come back and they have an awesome summer split, hey, everyone's going to forget about this. But is that going to happen? I don't know. What is TSM going to do at this point? Are they going to make roster changes between spring and summer? We know they have some nice pieces. We know Tactical can be good with the right team around him. We know that Spica can be an MVP with the right team around him. But it does look pretty clear that Spica absolutely needs a strong veteran leader on his team, and that he has really, really struggled without the likes of a Bjergsen or even like a Power of Evil on this team. Shenny seems like he can be a solid little prospect going into the future, but does Shenny even want to stick around, past this split, past this year? Is he going to jump ship and go to the LPL? I don't think anyone would blame him. What is TSM going to do in the mid lane? It seems like Kaido and Takeover have both been bottom tier mid laners in the LCS. That's going to be a mess. And they've spent so much money on this roster, and Reggie's calling it a long-term plan and a 3-year plan and development roster and all this stuff, to jump ship and reach out to some of these players that are out there on the market, like a Niski, like a Jensen, and all these other guys that they passed up during this offseason that are now on to other rosters and other teams. That would seem like completely doing like a 180 and already abandoning ship on this. So I don't even know. TSM is in an absolute mess. And then you think past this season, because I don't think many people think things are going to turn around in summer. It just seems a little bit too crazy. I know some TSM fans were really hyped and really excited after they went 2-0 last week, but now they got smacked down pretty hard by 100 Thieves. Who knows how the rest of this weekend's going to go. And you could say, 100 Thieves is a pretty good team, so it's not that bad of a loss. And I'd agree, it's not that bad of a loss. But, again, you are TSM. You are a top 3 spending team. You are a team that's supposed to be making it to Worlds, competing for championships, doing these things. And if that's what you want to do, you need to be competitive with a team like 100 Thieves, which is right now the 3rd place team in the LCS. You need to be able to take down teams like that. But right now, you're fighting with teams like Immortals and CLG. And then, again, looking ahead to the future, Spica's about to be a free agent. Huni's about to be a free agent. If those guys leave, how are you going to replace him? Who are you going to replace him with? Are the Chinese players going to leave? Are they going to stay? What are you going to do? You spent so much money. You're just in an absolutely miserable spot. And to throw it on top of all of that, you have possibly, maybe, I don't know, maybe the worst, maybe one of the worst academy rosters as well. There's just not a lot going right for TSM. And it's just a sad time, to be a TSM fan. And like I said, I would love if TSM was good. Obviously, I don't necessarily love all the people at TSM. I disagree with some of the things they do. But the LCS and esports in general are better when TSM is good. Viewership is up, it's more interesting, it's more exciting, it's more fun. Whether you love or hate TSM, you want to see them in the big games, you want to see them in the big moments, and this hurts everyone. So I'm not happy that TSM is in last place, I'm not happy that they missed playoffs, nothing like that. And I would love if TSM went out and made some aggressive, fun roster pickups before the summer split so that they can actually be a good team again in the summer split. Because again, just last year, This team was a single game away from making it to Worlds. And yes, obviously some things have changed since then, but hey, Bjergsen was your coach last year. Yes, Bjergsen left or whatever. Bjergsen's on TL right now, but Bjergsen wasn't even on your team last year. There shouldn't be that big of differences between last year and this year, except that TSM went cheap. They got this FTX money, and they decided to change things up. And Reggie's telling us how much he doesn't care about the LCS and how much the LCS doesn't matter and how it's dying and how it's not making money and all these things, slapping the fans in the face over and over again. It's just really, really crazy. And there's just been so much going on. And I've been saying, TSM can't have spring split end soon enough. So much drama, so many controversies, the benchings, the ups and downs, the losing. Not really a whole lot of great wins other than the Cloud9 win. What was like a single good performance TSM really had this whole split? There haven't been many. The players have looked rough. The team has looked rough. The socials are not doing so hot. LCS viewership has been hit by all this. It's just been an absolute disaster. But on the bright side, this TSM roster will be remembered. They have made history. They are now in the books, in the TSM lore, forever and ever, as long as esports and TSM and the LCS is a thing. The first TSM team to ever miss the playoffs. And again, I don't think that statement even does it justice, because in the LCS, there is really only 4 or 5 teams spending money. There's really only 4 or 5 teams even attempting to be competitive, and to be 10th when you are one of those teams that's spending money and trying to be competitive is rough. And yes, you can call it a 3-year plan, you can call it a long term, you can do whatever you want to try and avoid short-term criticism and try to avoid the situation at hand. But this play was an embarrassment for TSM. It was a downright shame, and like I said, we might not be through the worst of it yet. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. What do you think about TSM Spring Split? What do you think they should do going forward into the summer, going forward into 2023? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope to catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.